Hello everyone and welcome to the lecture on services. So introduction to Kubernetes services. So what is a service? A service in Kubernetes is an abstraction that defines a logical set of pods and a policy to access them. So why use services? Services provide a stable IP address and DNS name, load balancing, and allow for the discovery of pods in a distributed system. Types of services. There are four main types of services: ClusterIP, NodePort, load balancer, and external name. So this is how high level service architecture looks like. So this is for all four services. You have service, which is basically front-ending your pods. So pods are running on the node, and service is the abstraction that provides the IP address as well as a DNS name, and the clients go via service and then finally they reach to a pod. So first we will discuss the ClusterIP service. So it is default service type. So ClusterIP is the default service type in Kubernetes and is used for internal communication within the cluster. Internal communication. ClusterIP service enables communication between pods within the same cluster without exposing them to the external network. Virtual IP address. A virtual IP address is assigned to the service, which distributes traffic to the pods based on the configured policy. So this is how ClusterIP service, which is pretty much the same as service because this is the default. NodePort service. Expose service externally. So NodePort service are used to expose a service externally by assigning a static port on each node of the cluster. Static port assignment. The static port is accessible from outside the cluster, allowing external clients to connect to the service. Works with ClusterIP. NodePort works in conjunction with the ClusterIP, which distributes traffic internally to the appropriate pods. So this is how a NodePort looks like. So in case of a NodePort service, you would see from the ClusterIP that there is a NodePort open on each and every node, and the clients, external clients, can directly reach out to the static NodePort. Just remember, this is a static NodePort, but in NodePort is actually in under the hood is using ClusterIP, but this makes it this NodePort service allows you to connect to your pods externally via this NodePort. So this NodePort will offer a external DNS name plus a static port, and you can directly connect on this, and this in turn will connect to the underlying pods. Load balancer service. Cloud provider integration. So the load balancer service type is designed for integration with cloud providers, load balancers such as AWS Elastic Load Balancer or Google Cloud Load Balancer. Automatic provisioning. With load balancer services, the cloud provider automatically provisions and configures the external load balancer. Scalability and high availability. Load balancer service provides scalability and high availability by distributing incoming traffic across multiple cluster nodes and pods. So this is how external load balancer looks like. So it gets provisioned if you declare, and if you are running your workload on a cloud. So if you just specify a service as external load balancer, there will be plugins which will there will be APIs and plugin within the Kubernetes that will automatically create a load balancer for you, and this will expose the load balancer service, and load balancer service in turn actually creates a NodePort, but which is under the hood. And so the client, for example, you have an external client, they will reach to the load balancer, and this will be load balancer service, and which in turn will be having NodePort on every node. Next, last one is external name service. Reference external service. External name services are used to reference external services outside the Kubernetes cluster by their domain name. DNS based redirection. This service type relies on DNS based redirection, allowing clients to connect to the external service using the same domain name as the Kubernetes service. No IP-based communication. Unlike other service types, external name does not involve IP-based communication, and there is no virtual IP or proxying involved. So this is the external name service. So this is for some other external domain to connect to your cluster, Kubernetes cluster, and this is just external service provided, and this will say like which domain is allowed to communicate with your Kubernetes cluster. Service discovery in Kubernetes. So we have labels and selectors. Kubernetes uses labels and selectors to associate services with pods they represent, ensuring proper routing of requests. DNS-based service discovery. Kubernetes supports DNS-based service discovery where pods can access a service using its DNS name, which resolves to the service stable IP address. Environment variables. Additionally, Kubernetes can inject environment variables into pods containing the IP address and port number of a service, allowing for programmatic access to the service. So similar like which we have discussed, labels and selector, DNS based service discovery and environment variables. So something similar like you have labels and selectors and service discovery and all. Service publishing and exposure. So you have ingress resources. Ingress resources in Kubernetes define rules for routing external HTTP and HTTPS traffic to services within a cluster. Then you have ingress controllers. Ingress controllers such as Nginx or Traffic implement the ingress rules and manage the traffic routing to the appropriate services. Exposing multiple services. Ingress allows for exposing multiple services under a single IP address or domain name, providing a unified entry point for external clients. So you have external clients, you have ingress resource object, and you have ingress controller, which is we can say a separate object, like you have to install it separately through YAML. So just an example which we have seen is Nginx or Traffic. Nginx is very popular, so you just install it. Then you can have routing configured, and then those routing will decide whether it goes to, for example, Kubernetes service A, Kubernetes service 1, 2, 3. So you can have multiple number of services, and those rules like path, for example, /index, /home, /sales, /commission, any kind of, for example, in case of HTTP, you can let it go to service 1, 2, 3, 4, and in that service will decide through selectors and labels like which pod should serve that particular path. So this is one example. Service load balancing. Round robin load balancing. By default, Kubernetes services use round robin load balancing, distributing incoming requests evenly among pods. Session affinity. Session affinity can be configured for services to ensure that requests from a specific client are directed to the same pod during session, providing consistency in stateful applications. Custom load balancing. Custom load balancing strategies can be implemented using third-party solutions or custom code, allowing for more advanced traffic distribution and management. So you have round robin and session affinity. So round robin will evenly distribute. So first we'll go to node 1, 2, 3, one by one. And session affinity, you can configure that if you are maintaining stateful applications. For example, you have session. If you are, for example, a shopping cart or something, anytime you have a user login, make sure that it goes so that the affinity is maintained. Service monitoring and health checks. Readiness probes are used by Kubernetes services to determine if a pod is ready to receive traffic, ensuring that only healthy pods are included in the load balancing pool. Then you have liveness probe, which continuously monitor the health of a pod during its life cycle, detecting if the application becomes unresponsive or encounters any issues. Self-healing capabilities. By leveraging readiness and liveness probes, Kubernetes provides self-healing capabilities, automatically removing unhealthy pods and replacing them with new ones to maintain the desired application state. So readiness and liveness probe will make sure your pods are always ready and traffic should be sent or not, and liveness will make sure they get restarted in case there is any underlying issue. So service updates and rolling deployments. Rolling updates in Kubernetes allow for updating a service pods without causing downtime by gradually replacing old pods with new ones. Zero downtime deployments by ensuring that there is always a minimum number of healthy pods available during update process. Zero downtime deployments can be achieved. And rollback support. Kubernetes supports rollbacks functionality, allowing you to revert a service to a previous state in case of issues during the update process. So this is, we have, like, for example, you have old pod and you do a service upgrade, then or a deployment, a new versions, and you have a new pod coming, and then it will go one by one. Eventually all old pod will get replaced by a new pod. Network policies and security. Network policy resource. The network policy resource in Kubernetes allows for defining rules to control ingress and egress traffic between pods and services in a cluster. Control pod traffic. By creating and applying network policies, you can selectively allow or deny traffic between pods, services, or external sources, providing fine-grained control over communication. Enhance security. Implementing network policies enhance the security of your cluster by preventing unauthorized access and isolating sensitive workloads. So you have network policy, which is basically to provide security and segregating network communication. Best practices for Kubernetes services. Use descriptive names. So when creating services, use descriptive and meaningful names that reflect the service purpose, making it easier to understand and manage. Utilize appropriate service types. Choose the appropriate service types based on your specific use case, whether it is for internal communication, external access, or integration with external services. Implement monitoring and health checks. Implement monitoring and health checks using readiness and liveness probes to ensure the optimal performance and self-healing capabilities of your services. Apply network policies. Apply network policies to control traffic between pods and services, enhancing security and isolating workloads when necessary. So define clear service types, use labels and selectors consistently, implement health checks, secure network traffic, plan service exposure, monitor service metrics, and automate rolling deployments. Service autoscaling and performance. Horizontal pod autoscaler allows for automatic scaling of service pods based on observed metrics such as CPU utilization or request rate. Matrix-based scaling ensures that your service can handle increased load by automatically adjusting the number of pods based on predefined thresholds. Customer metric support. So HPA supports custom metrics, allowing you to define scaling rules based on application specific or external metrics, providing more granular control over the auto scaling process. So as the load increases, number of pods will scale up and response time will be maintained, and it maintains low resource utilization. So as the load decreases, you can scale down the number of pods, which in turn, and the response time will go down. Like this will be like one of the metrics, which maintains like the same. Target is to keep the resource utilization optimized. Service mesh integration. So what is a service mesh? Service mesh is a dedicated infrastructure layer designed to facilitate service to service communication in a transparent and reliable way, often implemented as a collection of sidecar proxies. Benefits of a service mesh. Integrating a service mesh with Kubernetes services can provide benefits such as enhanced observability, advanced traffic management, and security features like mutual TLS authentication. Popular service mesh solutions. Popular service mesh solutions such as Istio and Linkerd are designed to integrate seamlessly with Kubernetes and can provide additional capabilities to your services. So you have this Kubernetes cluster, and Istio or Linkerd will help in what we call service orchestration or defining rules around services, and they can better provide observability, security, and traffic control. So conclusion and further resources. Kubernetes services essential component. These are the essential component in the orchestration of containerized applications, providing stable connectivity, load balancing, and discovering capabilities. Flexible and extensible. The flexibility and extensibility of Kubernetes services make them suitable for a wide range of use cases, from internal communication to external exposure and integration with cloud providers. And additional resources to learn more about Kubernetes services, consult official documentation, tutorials, and you can join communities, etc. to build your knowledge. And one of them we are already covering, and you have books, videos, webinar, blogs, forum tutorials, documentation, etc. And that's all. Thanks for watching.